All right, I'm going to show you a few variations of what I was talking about. Those are going to be the blue, those are going to be the yellow. These are kind of bluish green, but they look more green, so they're going to go with the green. So this variation starts with red here. Blue pushes the queen's pawn. Everybody else pushes the queen's pawn. Yellow offers that bishop up, and green looks at that greedily and says, I can check the queen and win. Check the king and win that queen if the bishop gets captured over there. All right, but red has other plans. He moves queen to red h5, attacking blue's g-pawn down here. Let's go through the take variations first. If blue takes, yellow takes, and the best defense at this point would be for green to check with the queen, but if they check with the bishop, let's look at a nifty little mate that happens. All right, red takes, and the idea of checking with the bishop for green was for blue to win the queen by attacking the queen, and if he blocks, it just looks, things can still kind of be ugly, I guess, because the queen comes up back behind the bishop over there, but his idea is not to block. Yellow's idea is to move over. And at this point, green and blue have gotten themselves checkmated because the bishop came out. There's no more checks on yellow or red, and so he can't really do anything. Let's just develop a piece, and then nifty little checkmate here with the check, followed by he's forced to take, and yellow comes down and takes for mate, and green can do nothing. So that's why it's better to take the queen out, because that would at least stop that mate. But as you see, the rook drops unless defended very sharply over here. There are ways that it can be defended against, of course, but it's a sharp line. All right, so let's look at the way I played and see why that should have ended in mate. All right, board is reset. Let's look at the first move: king's pawn, and then queen's pawn, and then queen's pawn, and then queen's pawn, and then we saw queen to red h5 and knew they were up to something. I defended by pushing this pawn. Yellow went ahead and just took with the bishop, which ended up us winning, but should have checked green over here with the queen and threatened mate on blue. So now green has problems. If he blocks in front of his queen, he gets noob mated because there's no checks from blue. Blue's blocked himself in over there on both sides. But so green has to defend with the knight or the pawn push. Red responds with this nifty little check here that sets up the mate. As you can see, if blue blocks with the bishop, the yellow queen just takes this pawn, followed up by mate, because there's no checks on green. Green can't deliver any checks over here. And if he moves the king, he still takes the pawn and gets a little half sandwich mate in there. So very sharp line leads to some very tricky mates. Tell me what you think.